now getting into my favorite beer. That's been my favorite beer from the Big Beer Series for probably 4 years since I first tried it. The Smuttynose Baltic Porter. Again, thanks to Pat, we get a nice 2013 vintage. Clocking in at, what's the ABV on this? Let's see.
I think this year was 10.4.
But and for those who don't know, Baltic Porters, I don't know if Smuttynose does this, but Baltic Porters are basically a huge porter brewed with lager yeast.
These are, the Baltic Porters are indigenous to Northern Europe, and you know, they were made in the Baltics for the Tsar in Russia, and yes, we do adhere to that tradition. With our Baltic Porter, it's lager. That's one of the things that sets our Baltic Porter apart from everybody, is that we dedicate the time in our tanks to the beer. So the longer, just like aging your beer, the longer that you leave a lagered beer in the tanks to ferment, the better the beer becomes. And I believe on this beer we do 4 months. This beer is one of our most highly acclaimed beers, probably most of the Big Beer Series.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a perfect rating on the beer sites with tons of reviews.
Yeah, I mean, like, to me, it's with such a big beer, it's hard to smell that it's actually a lager, because it has a lot of notes that if you were a beer geek and you never tried a Baltic Porter, you would think it's an imperial stout.
Right.
It has like big chocolate, big raisin, big roast in it. Not like a burnt roastiness, but like an underlying nice roasting character.
And I agree with you. I think you would mistake it for an imperial stout, but I think the one thing that separates it from that is the hop level. It's not as hopped. Like those imperial stouts tend to be super hoppy. And that lagering just makes it smooth as all get out.
Oh yeah, the body on it is just definitely lets you know it's a lager because it's really smooth.
Yeah.
And it has some like earthy notes in the finish I really like. So for this one, I think I'm gonna go, and the final beer, I think we're gonna go with the darker chocolate. They're both Swiss chocolates that I bought today. This is a 72% cocoa, so more a classic percentage for a darker chocolate. So I'll each try a piece of the darker chocolate to go.
I think this will be nice with this beer because the chocolate itself is bitter.
Yeah.
So it'll kind of,
Cut through the sweetness.
add to the smoothness of that.
That's really good. I think the chocolate really hits the chocolatey and dark fruit notes in the beer. They go like hand in hand together. It's like amazing
It's a dessert right there.
It's like a perfect dessert pairing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have a nice float.
Yeah. like I'd put like this dark chocolate in like a chocolate cake and then put the beer with it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd actually just float some vanilla ice cream on top of this and then melt this down and pour it over.
Oh yeah. That'd be awesome. Alright, this is great. Every time I try this beer, I love it. I should take this opportunity as we go on in this tasting. How many states is Smuttynose in?
We are currently in 23 states, all east of the Mississippi save for California, which we just signed in. However, we're not really sending a lot of beer to California right now. But our plan going forward would be to send more and more beer there. We recently opened Michigan, which is new to us, Indiana, Kentucky, but our focus is mainly the Northeast. And yeah, East Coast, but mainly the Northeast. We want to be a regional brewery, we don't want to be a national brewery.
Because like a lot of times when I do beer trades, like I send Smuttynose because like I've been drinking your beer for like 8 years since now 2014, so since 2006, beginning of 2006 when I started drinking craft beer in college, um, and I always send Smuttynose because people say they can't get it. So
Which is, I think it's a good strategy to have. When we make a certain amount of beer. I mean, in order to get to the level that some of these craft breweries are at, you have to be really aggressive in your whole program. And we want to be something that is, a Northeast, like kind of brand. I know from being on the retail side of the business, like, we had breweries like that we couldn't get here, like Russian River, California breweries that are now becoming available in New York, but for a long time they weren't.
right,
Michigan breweries,
yeah.
Bell's and Founders. Bell's will be here in February, and that kind of that rarity really drives a fervor about your beer that we enjoy on the West Coast. Which I think is unique for an East Coast brewery.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been out there a couple times, and I've had guys that work for wholesalers who come up to me and they're just like, "When are you coming here? We really, really want you." And I think California's a big state. I lived there for a long time. It's like we found a wholesaler in San Diego and a wholesaler in LA, and we're sending trickles of beer there, and we're gonna kind of build up a giant want for the beer. Hopefully, we'll get people traveling up and down the coast of the West Coast to get our beer out of the South. Like we used to, like back in the day when I would drive to, Pennsylvania and all points beyond to bring beer back to New York for people that they couldn't get.
Right. Yeah, like when I was actually thinking about, how I was gonna film these episodes about Smuttynose, I was like, like Smuttynose, it doesn't seem like it's as recognized as it should be, because I always enjoyed your beers for many years, and now, now it's great that you're growing so much, opening a new brewery, and it's just great to see that you're constantly growing.
I think that there's a reason. It's really interesting to me that you say that, because I think the perception of a lot of people of our brewery, because we've been around for the length of time that we have in this market, is that people think we're way bigger than we are. We're a pretty small brewery. I mean, we're a big brewery compared to somebody who just started their brewery yesterday, but compared to the people that have been around as long as we are, or not even as long as we are, we're pretty small,
Yeah, for sure. But that speaks a lot about your beers, that like people like your beers enough to think you're much bigger than you are.
Yeah, as long as we maintain the quality across the board, that's all that we really care about. As long as we can sell what we're making.
Yeah, well, to me, like, I think it consistently loved this Baltic Porter for many years is a testament to just how good of a brewery Smuttynose is.
Cheers.